Hello, my name is Peter Bricks. I'm a debtor bankruptcy attorney in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here to talk to you today about vehicle redemption in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. But before we get started, let me read this quick disclaimer. We are a debt relief agency proudly assisting consumers in filing bankruptcy. However, there is no attorney-client relationship with the viewer of this message unless there is a fee agreement. Your situation is unique to you, and we would need to consult you individually before we could offer applicable and accurate legal advice. This information should only be used for educational purposes. Okay, so what we're talking about is vehicle redemption in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. What we're essentially talking about is what one of your kind of hidden options to keep your car in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Obviously, one of the things as a bankruptcy attorney you hear from debtors is when you meet them the first time is, oh, I heard I have to give up my car in bankruptcy. That's not true at all. Now, there could be situations where you do have to give up your car or want to give up your car, but there's no bright line rule that you have to give up your car. In fact, most of the debtors retain their car, and as an added bonus, what we're about to discuss, vehicle redemption, they actually retain their car at a better deal. Their monthly payment goes down quite a good bit. Okay, so you have four options with the vehicle. Real quick, the first three, which are not vehicle redemption, one is surrender the vehicle. Basically, here, Mr. Lender, take your car back and leave me alone. Therefore, I discharge my debt in the bankruptcy and I give you back your collateral. It's as simple as that. Number two is you reaffirm the debt. That one is basically, it's like you didn't file bankruptcy as to your car note. You continue to keep the car, but you continue on with the note. So if 6 months from now, a year from now, you default on the note, you can't get the out of bankruptcy to get you out of it because you signed a reaffirmation agreement. So you would be facing a possible suit for deficiency, a repossession on your record, all those things. That's one of the risks of reaffirming. Now, the third option is retain the vehicle without a reaffirmation. This is you get to keep the vehicle if you make timely payments, but this option is not available to everyone because it'll first come down to your state law. Does your state allow the lender rather to repossess the vehicle if there's been no signed reaffirmation? That'll be specific to your state. Additionally, regardless of even if your state law allows the lender to repossess the vehicle, the lender doesn't have to. They might have a policy where they allow you to keep the vehicle, keep driving it as long as you're making timely payments. That'll be specific to the lender, and you'll want to know what your particular lender's policy is. Now we're down to our last option, which is vehicle redemption. It's covered in 11 U.S.C. 722 of the code. And basically what redemption does, it's a really great option in certain circumstance. Let's take a circumstance where it would be a great option, because what redemption does is allow you to retain the car for the secured value of the vehicle. So let's say you've got a car, and most of you have a car with negative equity. Your car is worth $10,000, but you owe $3,000. I'm sorry, your car is worth $3,000, but you owe $10,000. So do you want to go through bankruptcy and reaffirm a debt like that? You very well might not want to. In fact, you probably won't want to. There could be a limited circumstance you would, but for the most part you wouldn't. So what you can do is purchase the car for the secured value of the car. Essentially say, I'll give the lender the $3,000, they'll give me the title, and then that $7,000 difference is just part of my unsecured debt that's discharged in the bankruptcy. Well, you might have just thought of a problem. Where's my $3,000? That kind of amount of money maybe debtors could come up with on their own, maybe a family member. But it's not always like that. Maybe it was a $7,000 car that you had $15,000 on, where it was much harder to come up with the money. There are companies that specialize in loans to debtors. So whereas you don't come up with the money yourself, you now have a new lender. So instead of your old lender that you had 15,002, you got a new lender you had 7,002. Well, on the downside, you're almost certainly going to be getting a loan at a higher interest rate. And you might not qualify, but let's say you qualify, you're probably looking at an over 20% interest rate. Well, if you're giving a over 20% interest rate on the $7,000, that's probably going to be a whole bunch cheaper than a 12% interest rate on 15,000. So you improved your situation at least as to your monthly payment. Why would that lender give you a loan? Well, you got rid of a lot of your debt in your bankruptcy. You're also ineligible to file Chapter 7 for 8 years. In addition to that, they can still repossess the vehicle. The loan's not part of your bankruptcy. It was incurred after you filed bankruptcy. You cannot enter a redemption agreement prior to filing bankruptcy. So for all those reasons, you might qualify. You of course need a steady job. Plenty of people file bankruptcy with steady jobs, and they make good money so that they can afford that. And then, the lender might have a specific policy, like if you've had a vehicle repossessed previously, they won't lend to you. It's going to be specific. You might call 5 redemption companies and only one will lend to you. But, of course, the first source, ideally, is if you have the cash available. Sometimes I've seen clients, I don't really recommend this, but dip into a 401k, pay the because they had a high interest rate car, they know they need a car, pay off the car through the redemption, and then pay it back through a 401k loan with themselves. So there are many different ways to do it, but the point is, if your car note is such that there's a large discrepancy between what the car is worth and what you owe, on the negative side, of course, you might very well want to redeem the car, but you need the funds, or you need to be approved for the funds. But that is a hidden option I doubt many people are aware of. Of course, your bankruptcy attorney should be aware of it, about how you can redeem a car in Chapter 7 bankruptcy.